As was demonstrated with the birth of Slaanesh, the Eldar have a tendency to give in to their desires of excess. And while some Eldar do still give in to these desires, the Ashurani of the Craftworlds strive not to repeat the mistakes of the past, even millennia after the fall. To ensure each Eldari finds a way to master their urges, they choose a path to follow. By focusing on one function, the Eldari are able to block out all other desires, including those that would attract Slaanesh's attention. The concentration of efforts required on any path encompasses every element of the devotee's life. While some Eldari may choose to walk another path after some time following one aspect, there are others who are consumed by their path. These Eldar become trapped by their fixations and live out their lives, never knowing again another aspect of life. Whilst the paths encompass countless disciplines, such as poetry, music, science and agriculture, the path and its specialties that we'll be focusing on today is the path of the warrior. There are many branches to this path, known collectively as warrior aspects. Those that are lost to these branches become exarchs, no longer able to separate from their killer selves. They are lost in service to Cain, keeping his shrines and teaching his creed. Their specialised armours are studded with waystones of the previous exarchs, the souls of the dead offering wisdom and power to the armoured warrior. Over time, the bearer's soul is lost in the mix of the dead forebearers, and so they are revered and feared by their fellow warriors. The most numerous of the aspect warriors are the dire avengers. The most tactically flexible, these warriors favour the shuriken weapons synonymous with the Eldar. Furiously devoted to their craft world and their people, the dire avengers embody vigilance over their home and enact the death of 1,000 blades with their shuriken weapons upon any who would threaten their charge. Even when not clad in their war gear, their robes are lined with the Eldar's lethal discs, ready to slice up any surprise intruders from afar. Asuman, the Hand of Ashuran, was the first to mark the path of the warrior, founding the original temple of an aspect warrior. Creating the discipline of the Dire Avenger, his skill at war is breathtaking, carrying into battle the first dire sword, inside the hilt of which is the soulstone of his brother, so that they may take the fight against the servants of the great enemy together. Taking their name from the tiny crystalline arachnids that crawl throughout the infinity circuit of a craft world, the warp spiders are able to emulate their namesake's uncanny ability to teleport through walls. Utilising a compact warp generator stored in their armour, they are able to make short jumps across the battlefield, disappearing and then reappearing in the blink of an eye. This allows the warp spiders to embody their doctrine of aggressive defence, appearing and striking without any warning to their enemies, bypassing their walls and their defences. Each time they activate their devices, however, the warp spiders must pass through the immaterium, drawing the attention of demons and of She Who Thirsts. As such, each Eldar that follows the path of the warp spider tests their bravery and trains to steel their minds against the horrors that await them every time they jump. Similar to Arthurian knights of old, the Shining Spears ride their mounts into battle, spears in hand. Unlike the Knights of the Round Table, however, their mounts are anti-grav jet bikes, tinkered and tailored to perfectly suit the rider. Eldar and machine are one within this temple, with these aspect warriors training to ride faster and more skillfully, not even leaving the seats of their bikes to rest. It is said that the Shining Spears even meditate while still seated on their mounts, learning to feel the flow of the land beneath them through the slightest variation in the hum of their anti-gravitic generators. Shooting into battle as the Spear of Cain, they are famous for the sheer daring and persistence of their attacks. After swooping in, delivering destruction with first shots and then strikes with their laser lancers, the Shining Spears then turn and come back around for another joust. First, you hear the blood-chilling scream. Then, as you recover your senses enough to look up, you see the red-haired, pale warriors vaulting over the barricade, their swords crackling with energy as they charge towards you. Unable to move, your entire nervous system racked by the shockwave of their screech, amplified through their masks. This is how the warriors of the Howling Banshees take to war, sharing the depthless sorrow of the Banshees of Eldari myth with their enemies, emulating their mythical ability to steal the souls of their victims. A predominantly female temple, they are led by their Phoenix Lord Janezar, the first Phoenix Lord to be trained by a sermon. It was Janezar that perfected the scream that steals, and her battle screech is said to be so powerful to liquefy the brains of those unfortunate enough to be victim to its psionic barrage. Rather than charge headlong into battle, there are some aspect warriors that instead choose stealth. Their psycho-reactive plates sliding silently across their armour as they creep from shadow to shadow, the striking scorpions creep up on their prey, waiting in ambush for the perfect time to strike. Once sprung, these warriors abandon stealth for ferocity, their chainswords revving and pistols firing as they dive on their unsuspecting foes. Their signature weapon, the Manda Blasters, fire out a hail of needle-like shards that act as conductors for highly charged lasers. Those that feel the sting of the scorpion strike soon feel nothing at all. Even the history of the striking scorpions is shrouded in darkness, with their first Phoenix Lord having been forced into defection by the current Phoenix Lord, Karandras. Ahara was thought to have fallen to the ruinous powers, and has since his defection been thought to have joined with the Dark Eldar, taking up the mantle of Drazar. Following in the theme of these grim warriors, the Dark Reapers embody Cain's desire for destruction. With their Reaper launchers, they offer the forces of the Craftworld long-range fire support. The sensors in their helmet locking on to even the swiftest of targets, and their reinforced limb supports taking the brunt of the significant kickback from their powerful and destructive weapons. Named the Harvester of Souls, their Phoenix Lord Malgan Ra was the sole escapee when his Craftworld home, Altansar, was pulled into the Eye of Terror. His kin suffered much while they were trapped in the realm of chaos for 10,000 years, fueling now the Phoenix Lord's hatred for the servants of the Dark Gods to unimaginable heights. If not destroyed by the long-range blast of a Reaper launcher, fortified enemies of the Craftworlds may find themselves melted by the flames of the Fire Dragons. In order to walk this path, each Eldar must undergo dangerous trials, learning the hard way which areas or materials will dissolve best under the heat of their fusion guns. Their training takes their understanding of destruction beyond tactical know-how, transcending it to a spiritual level of instinctual understanding, allowing their exarchs to target exactly the right spot, even on never-before-seen engines of war. With their fusion guns and charges, they take to the battle embodying the mythical dragon of Eldar myth, taking the fire-breathing reptile's teachings to heart as they bellow their white-hot payload, spewing fiery death down upon any before them. Bringing death from above, our final aspect warriors use wings made from vibrating plates and gravitic lifters to soar above their enemies and come crashing down onto their victims. Synonymous with vengeance and retribution, the swooping hawks arrive on the battlefield from the clouds, unleashing their las blasters and dropping plasma grenades as they fly overhead. If caught and cornered, they return to the sky, seeking out a new target, unaware of the danger on its way. Viewed as a sign of victory, other Eldar are renewed to see the shining wings of the swooping hawks above them, charging back into battle with fervour as these aspect warriors fly on ahead, weakening the enemy's lines for their ground-based allies. Each of these branches on the path of the warrior are formidable fighters when faced on their own, but when faced in unison or as part of a combined force with other aspects of the war hosts of the Eldari, they are a force that any would hesitate to stand against. There are some warriors amongst the aspects who would tread multiple paths over their lives, gathering knowledge and experience in these different deadly fighting styles. Finally, they take to the path of command, these Eldar becoming known as Autarchs. each skilled as uniquely as their own fingerprints. They are all highly deadly, and when leading a force of aspect warriors into battle, nearly unstoppable.
Only when you have soared through the morning skies on wings of flame can you understand the hawk. Only when you have fallen screaming upon those who know they are already dead can you understand the banshee. Only when you have annihilated those who would oppose you can you truly understand the power of the dragon. And only one who has travelled but ultimately turned away from each of these paths can understand the Autarch.
Thanks for joining me today to talk about the Eldar and their warrior path. If you're enjoying the videos and don't want to miss the next one, please drop me a like and subscribe. And if you've got a suggestion for what you think I should cover next, comment below and I'll get to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.